Welcome to Unbelievable. I am Boo. I'm joined by Ryan Tamari. On this episode, we are looking at our top 3 Super Bowl games. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so today me and Tamari are going to be talking about our top 3 Super Bowl games. We're going to limit it to the Super Bowls we've seen. Number 3 for me, Super Bowl 34 again, Tennessee Titans versus the St. Louis Rams. Kind of a crazy game. Tennessee goes down a lot, is able to kind of inch their way back in the fourth quarter. And then towards the end of the game, Kurt Warner airs it out. Real quick score against the Titans. It looks like it's almost over. Tennessee has to march down the field. They get all the way down. Dyson on the 1. So that's my number 3 game. Thought it was great. Number 2 game, Super Bowl 49, which between Seattle and New England, a good game with a crazy ending. I mean, this again was an ending that shifted NFL history for a little bit. Seattle was about to become 2-time Super Bowl champions against the 2 greatest quarterbacks of this era. That defense was about to be cemented. The Legion of Boom, was about to be cemented as one of the all-time great defenses. And they throw a pick at the 1-yard line.
Smith, yeah.
They throw a pick at the 1-yard line. Absolutely ridiculous. You watch it, you can watch the replays of it, and every time I watch it, I just cannot believe that that happened. I can't believe that they called that. I can't believe Russell Wilson did an audible out of it. I can't believe when you have beast mode right there, and I don't care what they said about his goal line situational things that they've been looking at. You give that to beast mode and you let him win the game right there.
A lot of people, I don't mean to interrupt, but a lot of people don't realize that he caught a screen pass the play before and got tripped up at the 1-yard line, and he could have scored. And there was a whole argument whether he should be MVP or if he had scored, if he had been MVP. Like you said, that rewrites being a simple trip up.
Yeah.
Reed has rewritten the course of NFL history.
And then my number 1 game, Super Bowl 42. Not just because of the ending, of course, but the impact and the hype going into that game. We were potentially going to see 19-0, the New England Patriots. They would have easily been surpassing the Dolphins of the 70s. They would have become the greatest team of all time. And instead, they're not even in that conversation because it's one game. That's the Super Bowl. For me personally, to be in the conversation for best teams of all time, you have to have a Super Bowl ring. And I don't care if it's 18-1, you still have to have the Super Bowl ring. And so again, that was just going into that game, it was nuts. I mean, no people who didn't even watch football were saying, is New England going to go 19-0? And I mean, it was ridiculous. Just the hype surrounding going in that whole 2 weeks leading up to it. I can't imagine how, and I think the Patriots dealt pretty well with that hype. I mean, what you're standing on the precipice of history, basically, of American sports history, because then some people would argue they wouldn't have just been the best team in NFL history, they might have been the best team in all time in American professional sports. And so going into that game, and I think it lived up to it, we saw Tom Brady, in my opinion, the best quarterback of this era, going against an incredibly tough defense in New York. They had his number, and in the end, they beat the New York Giants, became champions, and we didn't get to see history. But regardless, that's still my number 1 game.
My top 3, number 3, I got to go Super Bowl 32 between Denver and Green Bay. Green Bay was looking to go back-to-back with Brett Favre, and there's audio of Chris Collinsworth when you look back in this game, and he goes, I guess he told the Denver defense, media day, he was like, you guys are going to go into this game, and you're probably going to get beat about, 100,000 to nothing. He's paraphrasing. He says something like that, 1,000,000 to nothing. Denver came out and played them very tough. I think Green Bay had an early lead, if my memory serves correct, and Denver came back. The second one for me would have to be, and it's still a toss-up, Super Bowl 43, the craziness ending Arizona and Pittsburgh.
A crazy game, and I think it's funny because that would have made my top 3, but there's just so much has happened since then, and looking back on it, but that was an absolutely crazy game, and that game had moments from the halftime, right before halftime, Pittsburgh taking it all, James Harrison taking it all the way back. It had the Fitzgerald catch, which we thought might have been the game clincher, the go-ahead touchdown, and then we have the catch by Santonio Holmes from Big Ben. It was ridiculous.
Which I still hear arguments from Cowboy fans. They do not like the Steelers. That his toe wasn't down. I would have loved to see.
Toe was down.
Yeah,
They were down. I mean, it was ridiculous. That's how you catch a ball in the corner of the end zone. Definition, period.
Yeah, and I don't think enough credit is given to Ben Roethlisberger for the throw. Santonio Holmes was the MVP of that game. I would have probably given it to Roethlisberger. And he got hit a lot in that game. I think Darnell Dockett sacked him 3 times, but and set a Super Bowl record. But I think not enough credit is given to Ben Roethlisberger for how he put the ball there and allowing Santonio Holmes to catch the pass. My favorite game, because it doesn't, it's biased, and it kind of cements the idea of it not being a fluke, is Super Bowl 46. The rematch 4 years later between New England and the Giants. The similar situation, New England takes the lead, had the lead late, the Giants kind of chopped into it, and it was 17-15 with about 2:40 left to go, and Eli got the ball back and just chucked it in the air, and Mario Manningham
comes down with it,
much similar to the San Antonio Holmes situation where you make the catch in between two defenders. That to me resonates because they were able to do it again. So maybe it is 2 flukes. It defeats the idea of a fluke, but I go with Super Bowl 46.
The big thing it proved too for me, it just if Brady's legacy is going to have a big blemish, I think the biggest blemish it should have for on the field is that he's 0-2 against the New York Giants in the Super Bowl. I don't want to include the whole Deflategate, all that kind of stuff. I think for me as a football fan, if I have to look, when his whole career is said and done and we're looking up on his Wikipedia page, I think in that first paragraph it needs to mention that he was 0-2 against the New York Giants in the Super Bowl.
The championship series.
Yeah, and that's what it is. That's the way it is. And they did prove that they weren't a fluke. Coughlin and Manning really cemented themselves in that game, I really feel like. And it seems that we're never going to get a third rematch because Coughlin, of course, moved on from New York. But who knows? Maybe Eli will get to play Brady one more time.
I would love that.
So I think I'd like to see. Everybody loves a rubber match. Anyway, it's been unbelievable having you guys. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Also subscribe. In the comment section, let us know what are your favorite Super Bowls. For Boo, for Tamari, take care, guys.